Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Last week, we left our conversation somewhat up in the air as we started taking a look back at what was just concluded UN General Assembly and all that had happened at the Assembly. So let's go right ahead and welcome Ambassador David Comissiong back as we continue that conversation this morning and continue our look at Prime Minister Mia Amor Mottley's presentations at that particular presentation. We had started and shared a few. However, today we're going to pay particular attention to the Haiti crisis as well as what's happening in Venezuela. So those are just a few of the things that we will be looking at. Good morning to you, Ambassador.
Good morning, Tisha. Pleasure to be here.
All right, good
yes,
to have you with us.
it's probably good that we didn't get to those extracts last week because they're perhaps even more appropriate for this week. We want to look at what Prime Minister Mottley said about the situation in Haiti at the recently concluded United Nations General Assembly debate. And it's very appropriate that we look at it this morning because just yesterday, the United Nations Security Council held a meeting on Haiti and dealt with a matter that Prime Minister Mottley spoke about in her speech to the General Assembly about 2 weeks ago. So it'd be interesting to look at that and to discuss what happened yesterday at the Security Council. And then we want to look at Venezuela, yes, but Prime Minister Mottley also spoke very much about Cuba. And this coming Friday, we are going to be commemorating the very first CARICOM Cuba Day against terrorism. So Prime Minister Mottley's address at the UN will set the foundation for us to look at what will happen in Barbados on Friday as we go to the Cubana Monument in Paynes Bay to have this commemoration. But it'd be good for us to start with Haiti and that extract from PM Mottley's speech to the UN General Assembly.
There are too many examples where we fall short. And I speak specifically now first and foremost about Haiti. The world owes Haiti a resolution. It is not a matter of options. The world owes Haiti a resolution. A year ago, we knew that the gas riots had led to serious instability. And 12 months later, we cannot get out of this building and into the support that the people of Haiti need. There is no doubt a need for legitimacy with respect to the government of Haiti, and therefore a national unity government may well be the only bridge that can carry us to safety. The Caribbean community has appointed 3 former prime ministers as an eminent persons group. And as we heard the Secretary General say in this hall, politics is the art of compromise. Diplomacy is the art of compromise. I say simply to those who act in the name of the people of Haiti, there must be compromise in constituting that government of national unity if we are to provide the bridge, to provide the security, to stop women from being raped, stop people from being killed, stop people from being affected by cholera and other public health diseases. But even when we put in the institutional support that Haiti may need, and I want to thank the governments of Kenya and Rwanda, who from as far back as 12 months ago committed to being able to provide the kind of institutional support and leadership that the Haitian police need. But as they did that commitment, what they have not necessarily accounted for is the continued reduction in the numbers of the police, largely because of persons fleeing to lands of greater opportunity and being facilitated in so doing. This cannot wait much longer. And I hope that those who constitute the members of the Security Council will recognize that they cannot use Haiti as a pawn because they have suffered for too long and by the hands of too many.
It says a great deal when we appear in fora like this one, that Prime Minister Mottley would give, such a portion of her time to talking about what's happening in Haiti. And as you mentioned, it has been impactful.
Yes, she ended by making an appeal to the United Nations Security Council to deal with the issue of Haiti and not permit global geopolitics. Because the 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council are the US, UK, and France on the western side, and Russia and China. And quite often there's a conflict, political conflict between these 5 permanent members. And any one of those 5 permanent members can veto a UN resolution. So in order to get a resolution on Haiti, all 5 of those permanent members would have to agree, at least agree not to veto it. And that is precisely what happened yesterday. A resolution went before the Security Council yesterday, authorizing the member states of the UN to mount a security support mission, a multinational security support mission that will be led by a lead country, and the lead country that has come forward is Kenya. And there are 15 members of the Security Council, 5 permanent, 10 non-permanent. 13 members voted for the resolution, and Russia and China, while they didn't vote for the resolution, they did not veto it. They did not vote against it. They abstained, and so the resolution passed. And it's important to note that some of the countries that voted for it were, for example, the Africa 3, the 3 members of the Security Council that represent Africa. They voted for it. Brazil, for example. And so, yes, and the reason why this UN resolution, Security Council resolution, was so important is because the government in place in Haiti has a real legitimacy problem. And it goes back to President Moise and he being assassinated before he could appoint the guy who is now acting prime minister. And so there's a real legitimacy problem. So countries were saying, look, this government is asking us to come in and help bolster the national police. But before we can do that, we really need a resolution, an authorization from the United Nations Security Council. And Barbados has said, and CARICOM countries have said, if the United Nations Security Council approves such a mission, then we Barbados, Jamaica, Bahamas, Antigua and Barbuda, we will be prepared to send some security personnel to support the Kenyan personnel. Kenya has said it will send 1,000 police officers. So we now have that UN Security Council resolution, and we will see what will happen from here. But what is likely to happen from here is that the mission will go ahead. But you would have heard Prime Minister Mottley stress that it is critical that a government of national unity, a transition government of national unity, be established in Haiti, because the problem in Haiti, there's still a serious political problem where you have a de facto government that many persons in Haiti are saying is not a legitimate government. Everybody agrees that there needs to be some kind of transitional administration that will lead Haiti towards new elections, that the people could really, elect their real government. But there has to be that transition period. Who is to lead that transition administration? This is where the problem is coming in. Some people are saying, look, we want the transition administration, but we don't want to work with the existing de facto administration. And CARICOM has set up a group of eminent persons, 3 former prime ministers, who are currently meeting with all of the Haitian stakeholders, the de facto government plus the civil society and opposition people, and trying to get them all to compromise and to come together in some kind of national unity administration. And Prime Minister Mottley is saying, look, this is going to be essential because even if personnel are coming into Haiti to help the Haitian police, if you're coming into a divided society where one sector of the society is welcoming the people coming in, but another sector of the society is opposing it, that is going to be problematical.
Absolutely. So we've used up the time again before we've gotten to the next clip that we wanted to get to about the injustices meted out to Cuba and Venezuela. So let's get to that clip quickly so that we can round out the appearance of the Prime Minister at the UN General Assembly.
We could perhaps just deal with the Cuba aspect of it and cut there because that is most important this week.
Okay, so let's take in a little bit of that clip, the first part of it, which is in reference to Cuba.
I return now to the issue of Cuba. That Cuba can help so many in this world and yet be the continued victim of a blockade of over 60 years, but worse than that, a designation as a state sponsor of terrorism is wrong, wrong, wrong. We left Cuba last week. And what the people of Cuba are being asked to face on a daily basis because of a designation by a dying presidency is wrong. And the voices of the global community, many of whom have been the beneficiaries of Cuban assistance, need to stand united and to be able to say that we cannot fight these battles when we need all hands on deck to save the planet.
Yes, yes. So that is Prime Minister Mottley speaking about this terrible, terrible injustice that has been inflicted on Cuba for 60 years now. This blockade, and then to compound it, in the dying days of President Trump's administration, after he had been voted out of office, in the dying days, he placed Cuba on the US State Department's list of countries that support terrorism, and which is so ludicrous because Cuba has actually been perhaps the chief victim of terrorism. And one of the countries that have been involved in facilitating terrorism against Cuba is the said United States of America. And we in Barbados know this only too well because on the 6th of October 1976, a Cuban civilian airliner, 73 passengers on board, Cubans, but also Guyanese and North Koreans, was blown out of the skies in the territorial space of Barbados. And every year we commemorate that Cubana tragedy. And so this year, on Friday of this week, we will be at the Cubana Monument in Paynes Bay, 9 o'clock in the morning, where we will have our annual commemoration. It will be the government of Barbados, the ambassador of Cuba, the ambassador of Guyana, and a representative of CARICOM, because this year, remember, in December of last year, at the CARICOM Cuba Summit, the heads of government of CARICOM and Cuba made a decision to designate the 6th of October as CARICOM Cuba Day Against Terrorism. So this will be our first commemoration of the CARICOM Cuba Day Against Terrorism. And we will be reflecting on that terrorist tragedy of 1976, but also using the occasion to call for Cuba to be removed from that ridiculous positioning on the US State Department's list of state sponsors of terrorism.
All right, so we definitely look forward to what's coming up on Friday at the monument, as we've been commemorating in years past, but with a difference this time around. Thank you, as always, Ambassador, for sharing with us. Certainly a great review of the Prime Minister's showing at the UN General Assembly this time around.
Thank you. Yes, Tisha, yes. She continues to make us all proud. And thank you. I'll see you again next week.
All right, see you next week, Ambassador.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning.